welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie from The Farmhouse Mom, and I upload every Tuesday and Friday. In today's video, we are going to be making preparations for Christmas. We are preparing the farmhouse for upcoming events with friends and family, and we are also making preparations for our first baby goats of the season. This is Paloma, and she is currently out in the maternity ward, out in the barn. I do think she will have her babies today. I don't think she will have them by the time I'm done editing this video for you, but if by chance she does, they will be at the end of this video, but more than probably it's going to be Tuesday. I'm going to have some baby goats to share with you. I have been working hard these last few months, and really the whole year. I've been working hard at trying to declutter and organize my house. We have been in this house for 4 years, and I have the downstairs pretty organized. This is our open living, dining, and kitchen, and these past couple of weeks I've been working on the laundry room. It always seems to be a place where everything gets dumped and laundry just gets on the floor, and I'm just really tired of having it be so disorganized. I have such a beautiful view from my laundry room that I did on purpose because that's where I imagined myself sewing and doing projects, and really it just has turned into a place where we just throw everything. I love to watch YouTube, and I like to get inspiration, and I just kind of like to see what other people are doing. And minimalism is such a big push. I am not a minimalist. I like collecting things. I like having things around me that make me feel good. So for me, the minimalism is not the answer. It's an organizational system. In this laundry room, one of the biggest contributors to messiness is our farm clothes and our boots. So my husband put up this really long pegboard so we could hang all of our bibs, all of our jackets that we're using every day, going in and out twice a day. I also have my little sewing corner with a little bit of mid-century decor, and then I also have that nice long table where I can fold clothes, and then underneath the table I can put my laundry baskets, and I labeled them with my Cricut so we all have a place to put our dirty clothes so they don't wind up on the floor. So upstairs I have a craft room, and I decided to put the bulk of my crafts up there and only leave my sewing machine and a small box of just sewing notions so I can come down, bring my project, have a beautiful view, and we have a place to put all of our dirty farm clothes, and I'm so pleased with how it turned out. It looks really good. Now, if you want a slice of real life, this is what my upstairs and my little craft room looks like right now. I'm in the thick of organizing it, and I can't wait to show you that next week. All right, let's get cozy and make some holiday treats. I bought all the stuff to make homemade marshmallows last year, and I never wound up making them. I'm not sure why, but I was determined this year that I was going to make them. So this will be a step-by-step tutorial, and the very first thing that I'm doing is completely wrong. You need powdered sugar and cornstarch, and I started putting this in the mixer. I don't know why. I think because I've never made this recipe before. But you need some powdered sugar and cornstarch, and you are going to shake that over a 9x13 baking dish. Don't put it in your mixer. Put it in a small bowl and set that to the side. In your mixer, you are going to put some gelatin. I got beef gelatin powder, and the recipe is on sallysbakingaddiction.com, and I will leave that link below in the description box. But you're going to need gelatin and then a half a cup of water, and then you're just going to mix that in your mixer and let it just set while you are making your sugar syrup. You are going to need a very heavy bottomed pan. I have this beautiful vintage pan from one of my grandmothers. So if you're out in a thrift store and you see a really heavy aluminum pan, grab it because it's going to be the best thing to make fudge, to make divinity, any sort of sugar syrup. It holds the heat so well. So you're just going to want some water, corn syrup, sugar. You're going to add a little bit of salt. And I'm going to show you the progression of when the sugar syrup boils. So you're just going to stir it only to get the sugar mixed up with the corn syrup, and then you're not going to want to stir it. You're going to want to get a moistened pastry brush, and you just wet the sides so you don't have any crystallization. It takes a few minutes, but eventually it's going to start to boil, and then it's going to turn a little bit clear. You want to get it up to about 235 to 240 degrees, and that's what it's going to look like when it is ready. I brought it over to the mixer, and I was a little scared to pour it in at first because I'm like, I do not need a trip to the hospital with third-degree burns from having this splashed all over my body and face. And so I was really careful when I poured it at first, and this is what it looks like as it's first starting to get mixed with the gelatin. And I don't know if it's because my Bosch mixer is so powerful. The recipe says that it takes 10 to 15 minutes. I think it took 5 minutes max to mix this in my Bosch universal mixer. The recipe said to mix it until it gets really thick and glossy and white, and the last minute of mixing you need to add a tablespoon of vanilla. My husband said it was really good, but he said it had too much vanilla. I thought that it tasted really great, but if you are not a huge fan of vanilla, you might want to reduce that just a little bit. So I mixed it for a little bit longer after I added the vanilla, and then it was ready to pour into the pan. I think the one mistake that I made is that I did not add enough powdered sugar and cornstarch at the bottom. So I would absolutely cover the entire bottom of your glass pan, and you do want to use glass, not metal. I would cover it with a thick layer of cornstarch. And here's my cute little 5-year-old enjoying the marshmallow spoon. I made the marshmallows in the morning about 10 o'clock, and then I set them to the side, and I went thrifting all day. Do you guys want to open this box of china with me? So I found this at this thrift store. It was $6 for the entire box, and I stuck my hand down there just to see if there were 8 plates. I didn't have space to kind of pull everything out. It was 22 karat gold, and I thought, hey, even if there's just 8 plates, it really doesn't matter if it is a full set. If it has 8 plates, it's more than worth $6. When I started opening this, I absolutely squealed with delight when I saw this platter. It is so beautiful, and it was a complete set. There was one little teacup that had a small little discoloration, and the sugar holder had a little bit of a crack, but I do not care. It's so beautiful, and I had a spot in my pantry. I was so thrilled. It was so beautiful. Okay, back to the marshmallows. All right, so you're going to need a piece of parchment paper, and then the sugar and the cornstarch mixture that you had to the side. You're going to want to liberally sprinkle that all over your paper. And remember when I told you that I did not put enough cornstarch and powdered sugar mixture on the bottom when I first poured the marshmallows? This video was 16 minutes before I edited it. It took me 16 minutes to pull those marshmallows out. I tried, it said to take like a knife and try to, peel it out. That did not work. And what I did eventually was I just took my fingers and I dipped them in the sugar cornstarch mixture, and then I just started working it and trying to get it out. And it seemed like the main issue really was it was stuck all around the sides. So even if you're putting a lot of, cornstarch and powdered sugar, you can't really get it up on the sides. Maybe you can. Maybe you just need a lot, and then when you pour it in, it'll just kind of push up, or maybe as you're pouring it, you can sprinkle it. But anyway, long story short, eventually I did get it pulled out, and then I decided to flip it and coat both sides of it before I started cutting it. And the recipe said that you can use like a hot knife, or you can dip it in the cornstarch. But for me, getting it coated all around before I started cutting it was the best way. The recipe said to cut it into some larger squares, so I did cut the majority of it into large squares, but the sides of it are going to be not smooth, and so I cut all around the sides, and we saved all those little scraps and put them in little squares, and we're going to put those in hot chocolate. But the larger squares, I think I'm going to dip those in chocolate. I didn't do it in this video because we have been a little bit humid, and the humidity affects how long it takes to dry. So I just cut them out, and then I arranged them on my vintage cake platter, and then I'm just going to leave them in the kitchen for another day or so to let them kind of dry out a little bit before I dip them in chocolate. After you make all of your cuts on your large squares of marshmallow, you're going to want to dip all of the edges in because everything is going to be sticky, your fingers, everything. So dip them in as much of that powdered sugar and cornstarch as you can, and then when you set them out on your plate, they won't stick together. And then you're going to want to do the same thing for your little marshmallow scraps that you've turned into small marshmallows. I just dumped them in the bowl and stirred them around, and then I just shook off all the excess in a little colander, and we stored them in a beautiful little vintage dish. Thank you so much for stopping by the farm today. I'm going to go outside and check on my little goat and see if she's ready to have a baby. So I will see you next Tuesday, and we have 2 girls that are going to have babies, so hopefully we have at least 3 or 4 to show you. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you Tuesday.